Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video I'm going to be doing for a special request from one of my new subscribers requesting about having me do a video on superstars that should stay in WWE and the ones that should be completely cut from WWE. This might take a little while, may or may not, I'm not quite sure. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to get into every single superstar on the WWE roster. Just the main roster, of course. I'm not going to talk about NXT's roster because that will be way too long. But just getting into some of the names that should and should not be on there, and how maybe give a little bit of detail for each one of them, that how they should be used on the main roster, the ones that should stay. So to start things off, I'm going to go ahead and do the category of this really good one. The ones that should hit the bricks and go. Guys like Heath Slater, Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel. No. I think this guy deserves to have an opportunity. I don't think he's gotten a fair shake with this company. I believe he's been screwed over time and time again and not used properly. I think when he first came in, they were doing the right thing, and then from there, they just completely dropped the ball with this guy. Other guys, R-Truth, get rid of him. They just use him on a consistent basis of doing the same lazy idea over and over again. Him going ahead and acting like a complete doucheball and being an idiot. Who cares? It worked one time. Doing it over and over again will not make it entertaining. Goldust, another guy, complete freaking waste. He is not horrible, but he's old news. He's not, modern day WWE anymore. He's from the past. They could change his character and make him Dustin Rhodes or another good gimmick character. I would be fine with that. I don't have anything against Dustin Rhodes per se, personally, but the gimmick needs to go. He needs to get rid of that, and Stardust. Cody Rhodes needs to become Cody Rhodes again. Enough with this idiotic freaking whatever crap he's talking about, the stars and all this bullshit. Makes absolutely no freaking sense. He sounds like a freaking goon bag. Let me see here. What other guys that don't deserve to be on this roster? I think we could go on forever about who shouldn't be on this roster. I just can't think of them straight off the top of my head. Really difficult to think about. Oh yeah, Eric Rowan. He is part of the Wyatt family. Everybody knows that. But he is a weak link. He's not that entertaining. Truth of the matter is, Braun Strowman isn't all that entertaining. And as a side note, speaking of Braun Strowman is being talked about and rumored to be at WrestleMania to face The Undertaker. Are you fucking kidding me? This has been reported on multiple different YouTube channels as well. I'm very certain I'm not the only one who's reported this. And this would be a horrible, horrible match. Braun Strowman, a complete bore fest, an annoying fucking character. The only thing he's got going for him, I have to say, his promos are pretty interesting. Just as maybe as good as Bray Wyatt, but not... he doesn't go over Bray Wyatt's promos. Bray Wyatt's the best promo character out of the group. So he's really good. But Braun Strowman, he's okay. But wrestling-wise, get him the fuck out of here with this shit. He ain't all that fucking big of a deal. And him getting an opportunity facing The Undertaker is a fucking waste. If you're getting an opportunity to face The Undertaker, it's like challenging for a world championship almost. But, in all honesty, this is fucking garbage. Really. I don't like this idea. But getting off of that, back to the guys that should be gone from WWE. Uh, I'd have to say Ryback really needs to go. Ryback's the same old shit. Feed me more. Feed me more. Please, stop feeding me. I'm all fulled out from this crap. I was a fan of Ryback, and I'm slowly but surely getting fed up of him. There's nothing going forward with this guy. He's got nothing going for him. And in all honesty, if they were to cut him, people would not really give a shit. So, why not? He's not that big of a deal. Trying to think of some other guys that should be cut. Probably that's about all I can really think of right now at this time. Tyson Kidd, I wouldn't say that because he really had a good run with Cesaro. So, I mean, those two guys, if they were to put them back both together as a tag team, that would work out fine for Tyson Kidd. Not to mention they really could use an opportunity of going ahead and getting him, polished as a singles wrestler too. So, I mean, I wouldn't get rid of Tyson Kidd whatsoever. But Sin Cara, speaking of tag teams that are separated because of injury, Sin Cara deserves to be trashed. This guy doesn't need to be used. He ain't that important. He ain't that big of a deal. Kalisto is doing outstanding on his own. They are doing everything right with Kalisto. Speaking of getting into people that should be on the roster, Kalisto is one of them. And Kalisto definitely has the right push going forward and the right path going forward. Only issue I had with him, what they did with him so far this month, was him winning the U.S. title on Raw, then having him lose the next night on SmackDown that was pre-recorded to be shown on Thursday night for SmackDown. And then we see him win the title back against Del Rio at the Royal Rumble. Truth of the matter is they should have stuck with one or two things, and I've already mentioned this in my Royal Rumble review. They should have had Kalisto kept the belt all the way through, even past Royal Rumble, or had Del Rio keep the belt until the Royal Rumble and lost it to Kalisto so he could have his big moment on the pay-per-view. That's how I see it. That's how they should have went with that. So that's not a big deal nor here or there. The direction they're going with Kalisto is the right way to go. He just recently had a title defense on SmackDown this past week for Thursday night against Neville. Perfect opponent. Good at match. Very entertaining stuff. So I'm very happy with what they're doing with Kalisto here. Other guys that deserve to stay, well, the roster, the main guys that are at the top of the level, they're all where they need to be. Dean Ambrose, they definitely need to keep him. They need to give this guy a heel turn or a main event type spot as a face, or change him to heel so that he can get the main event spot. That's the direction they need to go with. And I saw a headline on JD from New York 206 of his his Off the Script Part 1, stating that there's a rumor going around that Dean Ambrose might turn heel at the Fastlane pay-per-view. If you are interested in taking a look at that, seeing what JD from New York 206 has to say about it, you're more than welcome to go to that channel. I highly recommend it. He's a very good analyst on wrestling, especially WWE content. That's all he really does, actually. Outside of maybe a few news and headlines from TNA that involves wrestlers possibly going to WWE. But he's a very good analyst. He does reviews on Raws and pay-per-views just like I do. I'm a big fan of his, and I'm one of his subscribers. So definitely I recommend checking out his channel, as well as Joe Cronin, because they are both very good analysts of professional wrestling, especially for WWE, which is where their stuff is mostly looked at, of their content. So definitely I would look at those two channels. I'm a fan of theirs, as I've already mentioned, and definitely take a look at their stuff, especially that Dean Ambrose turning heel thing for Off the Script, which was recently published yesterday on Friday, January 29th. So with all that said, going a little off topic here, going back to what I was talking about, Roman Reigns. This guy should be a heel. And that's the truth of the matter. Roman Reigns should be a bad guy. He needs to get that big time reaction where people are just fucking hating on him like crazy. That's what he needs. He needs a heel turn. But WWE's, I know what they're going to do. They're going to stick with him being a face. There's no way they can change him to a heel, making it logically make sense. Okay? So that's a given. And he's going to win the title from Triple H. That's guaranteed. In stone, without question. Very predictable. Very obvious. Is it a good thing? Maybe. Bad thing? I think so. I think they should have went with a different superstar winning the title. Maybe like Dean Ambrose becoming a dual champion, or AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, something like that, which I've already mentioned in several other videos I've done these past few videos I've done in the past recently. So yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and go further into that again. But anyway, yeah, Roman Reigns definitely should be a heel. Triple H shouldn't be champion. He should be having a one-on-one rivalry with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, headlining WrestleMania the way they want to do it, and that's it. Bray Wyatt, they got him on a different path right now. Before, they were trying to make him look like the next Undertaker. Thankfully, they dropped that bullshit. He's now back to his old self. He's against authority. He's an anarchist. He wants to spread the word of his beliefs of what WWE should be. And he wants to burn it to the freaking ground. I like that. I think it's good. Some of the members, as I already mentioned, should be gone. Two of them, Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, need to disappear. They are not that interesting or entertaining. Luke Harper, he's an alright guy. I like some of his matches. He had a really good match with Dolph Ziggler back in 2014 at TLC pay-per-view, which was a really good match and a good start off the show, which they were the first match of the show. So, I mean, they had a really good match, those two. Dolph Ziggler, speaking of him, I think Dolph Ziggler has been getting the shaft for the last 2 years now, going on 3 since we're in the year of 2016, and he had the world title in his grasp in 2013 and got taken away from him because he got a concussion and hasn't seen a main event spot since. Hasn't competed against a big name of any kind, except for that tag team match, elimination match at Survivor Series, where he came off an unbelievable victory over Seth Rollins as the last 2 combatants, no less, and including Sting doing his thing with Triple H. So I think what they've done with him is absolutely horrible. I think they are wasting his time and theirs by doing this. They need to get him in a direction that he needs to be in. He needs to be where he should be, and that's in some sort of title picture with the World Heavyweight title eventually. I mean, they have all this year to work with him, and they could do that and turn him into a main eventer as well. I mean, him turning heel and working with the Authority, or just being a heel on his own and winning the world title, winning the Royal Rumble, and then winning the title at WrestleMania, I think would be an unbelievable and awesome idea. I think they need to do a year-long build-up with him and make him the next champ. He's a good talent. He has a lot of good matches. He had a great match with Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental title on Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania. He had several decent matches with Kevin Owens, which weren't bad. Some of them should have never been done because they just buried the freaking shit out of that match between those two. They face each other so many times, it's just gotten to the point where, can you give us a break already and give us something else? Speaking of Kevin Owens, I think they are going on the right direction with this guy. Kevin Owens, actually, there is one thing they need to tweak. When he first started in WWE's main roster, he was right where he needed to be. Now, ever since he won that Intercontinental title, he's been like a guy who floats around. He's dealing with all the heels and going against the faces. And I think he needs to be a guy that doesn't care about anybody but himself. He needs to stop caring about the heels. He needs to stop caring about the faces. He needs to be a Stone Cold Steve Austin type character. Now, he ain't ever going to meet the level of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I can guarantee you that. But he's talented enough to pull off a guy who is a mixture of a heel and a face type character where he is liked heavily. Which he is right now anyway. He is liked. And he can get people to hate on him, which is very good. But he's a guy that's a pussy now. He runs away. He shouldn't run away. He should be a bad guy that fights, which is what he was doing with John Cena. And there's just so many different other things that involved him with him that just screams some kind of small change about him to put him back on the right track. But everything else besides that, he is gold. I like his in-ring work. I think he's a great talent. And he will eventually become the next World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know when, but it will be soon, in the next year or two. I'm pretty sure of that. AJ Styles. We're going to talk about him now. AJ Styles is a great talent. He is a guy that was definitely needed by WWE. WWE hit the jackpot with AJ Styles, and you can guarantee his match at WrestleMania 31 is going to be one of the show stealers of that show. I think it will be the match of the night of WrestleMania 32. That I can bank on. He is a great talent. He had an awesome match with Chris Jericho. Granted, the match was a little bit slow, I have to admit. So it did have its slow points and a little bit of boredom. But overall, him and Jericho worked very well together on that this past Monday Night Raw. And I am very happy with AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles. I think he's a great talent. And I can't wait to see him on a big stage like WrestleMania, performing in front of a big, large crowd, which he has never done before. So he will probably have butterflies in his stomach like crazy. He's going to have nerves up the ass. And I think he's going to steal the show anyway. Because this guy is definitely going to be a World Heavyweight Champion sometime real soon. Could I see him as a heel? Yeah, absolutely. I think he would play better as a heel than a face. Because in New Japan, he did really well in New Japan as a heel. The Bullet Club and all that. Now, would I want to see them recreate a Bullet Club type faction? No, I don't think they need to do that. Maybe create their own kind of idea of a new faction. Maybe, I don't know. Quite frankly, I think AJ needs to be by himself like they're doing with Kevin Owens. Maybe make AJ Styles and Kevin Owens and a few other new, maybe a couple other guys that have never really worked together and put them together. Maybe two other guys with Kevin Owens and AJ Styles as a bunch of heel faction. I think that would be pretty badass. That would be something worth watching, truth of the matter. There is some other guys I'm trying to think of. Sorry about the long wait and thinking about all this, but I didn't write down notes or anything. I'm just doing this right off the top of my head. No script, no nothing, just straight up, just thinking about all of this. Tyler Breeze, he is worth staying. They need to keep him. They just need to do something that sticks and works for this guy. I think what the problem was with Tyler Breeze and why it didn't work out for him being what he is right now is because they rushed it too quick. They tried to push him so quick against Dolph Ziggler that, making him have a match in a competitive rivalry would not work, and I can explain why. See, 50-50 booking works well with rivalries, but you have to build your character up, both of them, to a level where if they were to win and then lose and win and lose, that would work and it wouldn't hurt one or the other superstar involved in the rivalry. But when you have a guy who just recently came up, only had a match or two under his belt against other guys, and then have him lose to Dolph Ziggler or to lose to some mid-card guy or something like that after he, whatever, that is stupid. I don't even think that's how it worked out. He beat Dolph Ziggler at Survivor Series, and then he lost to R-Truth. Now, where is the logic behind that? Why would he lose to R-Truth, a guy that has not had any kind of push, except maybe they just wanted to drop him completely from the get-go before he even got started? And if that's the case, then why the hell did they bring him up to the main roster? Outside of not making any sense and being complete dumbasses in the process. But Neville, that's another guy. He needs to stay on the main roster. He's a good talent. They need to get him in a level where he's comfortable with. I think that Intercontinental title run would be good. Or a U.S. title run against somebody, win the title from whoever gets the U.S. title the next time he has a shot for the championship, or vice versa with the Intercontinental Championship. I think that's really worth going for him. Maybe even a tag team titles. Maybe team bring Sami Zayn up to the main roster and have Sami Zayn and Neville work together as a tag team and win the tag titles from the New Day, which I think would be an absolute awesome idea. I think those two teams working together would be absolutely unbelievable match. I think New Day would finally have a good match with a good tag team, because most of their matches lately have not been all that entertaining, and that's because they're not bad. They're average, but they're not at the level that they were earlier in the year of 2015. So, yeah, a little bit of disappointment with New Day, but it's not really their fault. They're good in-ring talent. It's just the fact that they are not being placed with better talent to work with. Usos, they're one of the groups I don't really fucking care about. They need to just split those two apart. Make them single competitors and do something else, because they're just done. They're stale, they're boring, they're the same old shit. And most of the audience members still do the ooh and the so's bullshit, and it's just fucking boring. And people just keep doing it because it's just, I guess you could say, a habit or a routine or something like that. But overall, Usos need to go hit the bricks. Sami Zayn definitely needs to come up to the main roster, have a match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, or better yet, if Kevin Owens is supposed to, he's going to have a match at WrestleMania, he can't face Sami Zayn, have him face freaking Undertaker at WrestleMania. I think that match would be great for his career. Yes, he's a young talent. Yes, he's only been there for almost a year, but he's made a big stamp on WWE's main roster. He's beaten some pretty well-talented names, and they seem to have a lot of faith in him. He's had some really good matches with Dean Ambrose, two great matches and an okay match with John Cena the third time. He is just unbelievable. He has done a very good job with his run in the main roster. He has excelled in every area, in my opinion. So a match with The Undertaker would be good. Him losing The Undertaker would be acceptable. I would not accept him beating The Undertaker. That would just be complete and utter garbage. Undertaker, if he used to face Kevin Owens, needs to win that match, hands down. No question. But it would be a good push for Kevin Owens to have and be able to work with such a great veteran like The Undertaker. So, yeah. Now, Sami Zayn again. I think, again, he should go up to the main roster, have a match with Kevin Owens, if anything, and then move on to a tag team work with Neville and win the tag team titles after WrestleMania or something like that. Randy Orton. He is an injured reserve. He needs to get back in the ring, basically work his way back to the top, have some series of great matches throughout the year, maybe even get an opportunity or two to face for the World Championship again, and lose both times, or at least the one time that he gets to face for the championship. But I don't think he should win the title. Maybe near the end of his career, he should win the title just one last time to get one more title run. But as a going away retirement thing. But other than that, I don't think he needs to have any more heavyweight title reigns. I think he needs to focus on more working with younger talent and helping them in rivalry boosting and all that kind of stuff. And along the way, getting big wins against them as well. John Cena, nothing to explain with him. He's in the same thing he's always been. He's a good talent. I'm not going to lie, I'm a big fan of his. If you haven't seen any of my videos, I will admit it again, I am a John Cena fan. Yes, I'm not 16, I'm not 12, I'm 27 years old, and yes, I like John Cena. So, there you go. I don't care if you like me, hate me, whatever. You have your right to your opinion, I have my right to mine, as well as everyone else does. So, with that said, John Cena is good in my book. He's worked with some really good young talent, but he's old. He doesn't need any more title reigns, and he sure as hell does not need to win the title the 16th time. I will admit with everyone else on this, he does not deserve to be 16-time world champion. He doesn't have the right to tie with Ric Flair. He's not the same talented wrestler that Ric Flair is. Ric Flair is probably one of the greatest outside of a few other names like Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, and so forth. So there ain't no fucking way in hell I would say that John Cena deserves to be a 16-time world champion. Even though I'm a big fan of his, I do not say he deserves it. That's like saying Hulk Hogan deserves to tie Ric Flair's record. And he sure as hell ain't no talented wrestler either, and I believe John Cena is a better wrestler than Hulk Hogan, and I still won't say that John Cena should carry the title for a 16th time. Seth Rollins needs to come back, win that championship. That's all he needs to do. That's all they need to go in the direction with him. And that's about it. I mean, really, I could go on and on and on, but this video has been going on long enough. But this is pretty much my overall opinion with some of the big names that come to my mind. But anyway, at this time, leave any comments and opinions down below. I'll definitely get back to you guys as I always do. And hit that subscribe button and lay the smackdown on that bitch. Because that's what we do here on World of Wrestling. Thank you very much, though, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a great night, guys. Bye.